Holy shit, it works. I apologize, y'all, if anybody is here watching this currently. Um, I apologize greatly. Technical difficulty. Simon's back. There we go. Oh my God, it's such a great time. Oh, I can't hear you, Simon. You have to add your audio.
Oh, well,
We are currently
yeah.
streaming on a new stream because the scheduled stream
Oh,
was stupid.
does the link not work? Then that you shared out.
I changed it. You're gonna give me a moment. I can send it to you because I'm a smart person and I can do that. Paste. There's the YouTube link in the chat now. What's going on, y'all? I'm going to edit some things real quick. I would like to change you. Change. Did you get that, Simon? You went away again.
What was that?
Did you hear me? Did you get that link?
By message or text or what?
I sent it in the Zoom chat.
I don't have access to that. I don't know.
Okay,
I
don't
don't
worry
see
about
that
it. I'll send it
anywhere.
to you on Facebook. Great googly moogly. You want to see a bunch of like blockheads try and figure out technology, and like I'm supposed to be able to do this like for realsies, and Simon's done so much work in the tech field. Like I don't know, he does tech support for God's sakes. And Simon just dipped out. That'll happen. Apparently they're having some pretty bad weather over there, so I'm gonna give them a minute. I apologize to everybody in this in chat currently.
So, Paul, can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Yeah. This is the newest link that you sent.
Yes.
So,
Is there something wrong with that link? Well, that was no, that was the link to the stream. Like you just stay in Zoom.
oh, gotcha.
Apparently the link I gave you works. That's like for them to be able to find the live stream.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Not for you to go to the live stream.
That's
I
what I
don't
tried
know.
to do.
I don't know. I shared it out. I probably should put that on Facebook because I'm a malcontent. But how are you doing, Simon? How's the storms out there? I hear it's hellish.
Yeah, we're getting rain for the first time in a while, and it's coming down pretty good. I don't know if it's hellish. It's really nice. People are, I'm opening my windows for the first time in months.
Hey, take that as a win. Where are you at?
I'm in Arizona, right in Phoenix,
Yeah.
so 108, 110, and this morning it was down to like 75,
Jesus.
and it was nice. But,
How's training and all that?
well, I go to the gym and I lift weights rapidly and work the elliptical and whatnot. Training's been good. I've got a fight coming up, so I'm concentrating more on cardio rather than lifting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you want to be able to last all what 5 rounds?
Well, it's 2-minute rounds, so that's twice the length that I'm used to.
Yeah. And that's gonna be a bear and a half to deal with. Like that's the thing I'm looking at pro fights. It's like, can I really like go 2 minutes like high intensity, being able to maintain that pace, and being able to set that pace. It's really important in fighting.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but we'll see. I mean, battle axes sometimes end fights quick.
I mean, I'm looking at two of them. Those things are silly. Like they smash.
So, and I think we're going to use short axes. Um, there was talk of maybe doing a round of greatsword. If they've got a pair of them, that would look pretty cool with two big guys using those great swords that are out.
Yeah, you guys have enough ass that you're able to put behind it, and really move the things around like most people can't. Like I'm actually in the middle of talking to Canadian Boohurt Shop about doing me a great sword right now. I want him to put like a mace-like pommel at the bottom of the thing so I can clodhopper him left and right with it. I mean, on that long a sword, on that big a sword, you got to put a serious pommel at the end of it so it actually works as a counterweight and not just making the weapon heavier.
Yep.
So what's going on, y'all? I'm Paul the Barbarian. I'm sitting down with Simon Nerd Rage Rourke, veteran in the sport, been around for goddamn ever, you dinosaur. Um, the has the bling to back it up, and he can smash your head in with a brick. Who's ever gonna argue with that? He just woke up from a nippy nap. He's all chipper and fun to be around, except for like when he gets all down and glum and smashes your teeth in because you said something wrong.
That's not me. I'm a big teddy bear.
Yeah, you are actually realistically you are a teddy bear, and like people get thrown off by your stone wall demeanor sometimes. I'm like, nah, the dude's just really damn smart, and he's got a lot of violence under his skin. Like there's a combination right there that needs to be balanced at all times. I know I'm painting such a
Well, I
picture
mean,
of you, Simon.
I really don't take myself that seriously, but I mean, I get that. I have a resting bitch face. Is really what it
Yes.
is. I have a resting bitch face.
As do I. Like when I'm not giggling and having a good time, I look like I'm ready to murder things, and I'm like, sorry, I am, but at the same time, I'm willing to have a good time about it. I don't know. Simon, you want to talk about your exploits? Give us the cliff notes.
As part of the first group of guys that went overseas to fight, and when there wasn't really a tournament or anything like that, it was just 29 malcontent LARPers and ruffians, and we went over there. Some people got their ass kicked more than others, and we had a good time, and that was a challenge, and that's how it all started. And then I won some world championships. I think I was MVP of the world championship team in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
and won various national titles and international titles, and yeah, I mean, you realize
Break it up a little bit.
this is the bling,
Wait a minute, you froze up.
the whole.
Oh yeah, all of the shelving of awards and such. Um, Simon's been a
the world
premier polearm fighter for so stinking long. I mean, you break it up, you're moving too much. Apparently your Wi-Fi is not good.
Sorry.
Nah, you're good.
apparently, yeah, no, I've won a lot of titles, national titles, and some international titles, and I by both leagues, form, W, and one thing, went to ABS and won their thing, and then COVID canceled the whole bit, and it was like 2 years ago,
Yeah,
and then
COVID
canceled
kind of kicked
again.
us all in the ass. And by the way, everyone on stream, that was not just you hearing robocalls. That was all me getting robotic voices of Simon. half of the words made it through.
Sorry.
Nah, don't worry about it, brother. Um, and then he froze. Are you still there? Still got you?
Yeah.
Okay, making sure. Um, so you've been around. You've been around a lot. You've beat the ever living shit out of a hell of a lot of people. You've made people quit. You've done the thing. Um, seeing it from one
I
end.
don't think.
See, you broke up again. I think you had a point. I don't know. You might have had a point for there.
Oh, I was saying that I don't think I've made anybody quit the sport. I think I've made them maybe quit fighting for the day or
Yes,
something.
you have made them quit in a round. You have made them quit during fights with you, purely on hitting them hard enough.
Oh yeah, that's sort of my MO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you and Jay definitely push forward the idea of pain tolerance and just dropping people like logs. It's pretty reasonable.
It's I mean that is the sport. I mean we're not there's no make believe in that, you know.
Not at all. I mean, as one who's been on the receiving end of those axe blows, I'm very understanding of why people sit down, and I don't look down on anybody because I tried to tough through it, and small plate Russian plate just doesn't do the trick. It really doesn't. You know how many people ask me about trying to find a helmet like that and then what kind of suit they have to wear for it? I'm like, not enough plate. There's not enough plate in the world that matches with that suit historically that's going to work at all. You're just going to walk out with bruises and broken bones. It's not going to do you any good.
Yeah, I mean it's I thought it was brave, but I wouldn't do it.
No, you guys have been harassing me about that helmet and that suit of armor for so long, though. Like I kind of came to a point where I probably should have realized. I have a question for you, Simon.
Yeah.
I wonder if this would work better if your phone isn't trying to transcribe video data and you just talk to me on the audio. Then you could take your
Hmm.
pants off again.
Okay, hold on. So I
Tell,
turn off.
turn off your video. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, I'm wondering if this will be better for the audio quality, because realistically, no one could give a shit about our faces. They just want to hear us talk.
Okay, all right. How's that? Is it better?
Yeah, you're not exactly breaking up completely at that point in time.
Okay. God, I feel sorry. I'm sorry for everybody listening. We're having technical issues.
Yeah, at first the first stream that I had set up didn't really work out because apparently things want to argue with OBS and YouTube, and then you're in the middle of the desert with internet. I mean, that's a thing.
Well, there's a storm, and so who knows what's going on.
Yeah, you're getting cracked in the back on that one. Um, so this is an AMA. If you have questions, throw them down in the bottom. Throw them down in the commentary. I'll spit them out at us. I've got a couple that are actually from the Patreon that we have going on. Um, I asked specifically for questions that they would want to ask us, and whenever the hell my phone decides to pull them up, I will ask them. Um, Next weekend, Nick. Next weekend's gonna be some good fights. We're definitely gonna be seeing a whole bunch of good fighting out of next weekend's fights. It's gonna be great to watch, um, and can't wait to watch them. It's gonna be hilarious. Yeah, Cyber went all cyberpunk on us. You're not wrong, John.
Who's on the card?
You're asking too many questions. I can't remember that many names. I will look at the card.
I wasn't sure if they had a list, if they given a list to you or not, or if you work with them or what.
No, well, they've put out the cards. I mean, the cards are all out online and stuff like that. I do believe. Um, so one of the first questions from Patreon, Sam. Most, if not all, people I've met who do Boo Hurt are also big nerds like myself. Paul and Simon, are you guys also big nerds? What other copious amounts of video games and tabletop stuff do you get into? Simon, you want to go ahead?
Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely. I started fighting in armor was 26 some odd years ago. Our D&D, our game master said, "Hey, there's these guys beating each other up in a park. You want to go check it out?"
Hell yeah.
That's how it started for me when I was 19 in 1994.
Woohoo.
Yeah. And so yeah, we're definitely nerds. I played old school D&D, Twilight 2000, Rifts, ElfQuest, Call of Cthulhu. I mean, GURPS, all kinds of different games all over time. In fact, I've got I'm sitting next to my library of gaming books. I are collecting dust right now because I don't have time for it anymore. But I still keep them, and they're the one thing I probably own the longest.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a dork. I don't know what you.
Slow down there for a second. There you go. There, Simon? Bop, 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 bop. He's a big dork. Oh, there it goes. He said, Oh, I love it. Simon, you there?
Cell phone, so with the storm, I think it must be real bad.
I'm guessing so. Are you on Wi-Fi or are you just using data?
I'm using data, but I'm gonna switch to my local Wi-Fi. You might lose me, but it might be a much better connection.
That's fine. I'll answer the question while you're gone. By the way, how's the audio on the stream? I have no idea, guys. Let me know in chat. Let me know if it gets better or worse anytime soon. I will say that like through my nerding around, I've definitely played Warhammer. I've played Magic. I play D&D on the occasion. I like going out and LARPing. Everyone knows that I do foam as well as rattan fighting. I started doing that back when I got out of college. But basically, I just smashed a whole bunch of Warhammer, Lord of the Rings, all that kind of stuff, all the little miniature games and everything like that. I do board games every now and again when I actually want to sit down and play. It feels like I'm sitting down like a full, like, 8-course meal if I sit down to play a board game because I want to know the rules. I want to know how to play the game, like, fluidly. I don't want to, like, screw around and try and figure it out. So... like, most of my stuff has been very physical. Like, I still play Magic, like, hardcore. I play EDH, I play Commander. I have a great time doing it. And I'm, like, realistically, I'm ready to play Magic whenever I can because that's just a different kind of math, and it's real fun to throw around. Ooh, Simon's trying to jump back in. There we go. Let's see if he comes back. Yeah, turn off. How are you? This time he is connected.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, look at that. It might actually work. I'll let you know if it goes robo again. Let's not get frustrated about it. We'll try turning the camera off because you actually had better audio when you turned the camera off. Funnily enough.
Huh, weird.
But you heard all that, right?
I know. No, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you that you were about your gaming story.
Well, no. I'm a giant nerd that plays Warhammer 40K and plays lots of Magic.
Right.
I like super physical based. I don't know why. I play D&D every now and again, but I like going out and LARPing. I go to this thing called Darkon, which is basically D&D with foam fighting, and it's probably the most fun thing ever because I wear my full steel fighting kit and I get 4 extra hits. I'm like, I couldn't give a shit less.
That's cool.
I wear 4 plate, or like a full plate, and I'm like, it's just a workout for steel fighting, and I have to move faster. Awesome! Like that's my cardio workout for going and doing steel fighting. I'm like, I'm just gonna do wind sprints around with a spear all day at foam fighting. It'll be great.
I tell people that if they want practice at this sport, situational awareness, the only way to practice it without actually fighting it, in armor, is to go and do some LARPing or go to like middle of a heavy metal concert in the middle of a mosh pit, flip everybody
Yeah.
off. But other than that, it's hard to train. And but LARPing is a great low cost way to do it.
Yeah, it's low cost. It's easy to do. Most of the time, it's not full of complete pricks. And basically, you just sprint around a field for half a day, dodging arrows and making sure nobody's coming up behind you. Like that's the biggest thing in steel fighting. I think it's missed out on is field awareness. I mean, just getting crackbacks constantly is a son of a bitch.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you like a good cross check. You don't really run all that. You don't really run all that quick. I call you the pillbox of death for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't run. I mean, I can move in short bursts.
Oh hell
Like
yeah.
I can move if you're within 5 feet or 10 feet, you might be in trouble. But otherwise, no, you're right.
If you're within like 6 feet of me, 7 feet of me, I can hit you with this axe and make you quit. If you're further than like 13 feet, I'm gonna let you go for a little while. You come back. You keep running. You're gonna die tired. It's fine.
Hey, it's a strategy. I mean, it's an old guy thing. You got to conserve energy. I
Hell
mean,
yeah. Old and treacherous. Old and treacherous.
yeah, I mean, that's what we're gonna see. We're gonna see on Friday at the Warlords thing. Is he's 29 years old. So I've been fighting in armor since he was 3.
Yeah.
But he's a giant, beastly guy. He
He
weighs 10
is
times
a
less than I do.
mammoth. He is a mammoth. And he's tough. He can take a beating. It might not be. He might not be used to taking as such a concentrated beating that you kind of throw around, but at the same time, that's always fun.
Well, he fought me once. He fought me once when he was brand new,
Yeah.
and he was a handful then.
Yeah. I
Um,
bet.
yeah, his teammates were like, "Oh, take it easy. It's his first time fighting and pole arm, blah blah blah." And so we start off. I'm like, "Yeah, okay, no problem." It's actually on my YouTube channel, our first fight, and then he hit me once, and it blacked my eye right through my helmet, right through my armor,
You
like
seem to
immediately.
have that issue.
Well, I mean, some people. I mean, I guess that
Have you
every
checked your
nothing.
helmet padding lately?
Yeah, yeah, and I have a different helmet now too. So
Yeah. Yes, I know. Your grandfather did 14 gauge fucking scary ass helmet. Yes, I know. I'm aware.
I don't use that one anymore though. I use a. I'm part of the Wolf Rib Mafia now.
Yes, the Wolf Rib Mafia. It's very interesting to watch this wave of wolf ribs hit the market, and it's been pretty interesting to watch people change their kits to it. And like, I'm like, okay, if I can put an extra bar in there somewhere, I'd be happier. I'd be happier.
They look terrible. I hate them. I
They
mean,
look.
everything. Oh,
Does it feel like you're back in the SCA?
it does,
Yeah.
but that's not why I hate it or anything. The SCA is kind of where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
It's more that the reason why I like the helmets is that faceplate aesthetic. Like, I mean, you have a full metal face, and I like the fact that it looks like you're a machine. There's no human
Yes.
anything relatable at all. Whereas when you have when with my wolf rib on, you can see my goofy ass, chubby cheek, smiley face. There's
Yeah.
nothing intimidating about that.
I can see your eyes when I know you're about to quit. Or I can see your eyes as I'm running up and my fist is coming forward. I can see the fear embodied in your face, and I'm like, yes, good. I'm gonna hit you.
So
You probably not so much. Others probably.
yeah, I don't got a lot of quit in me, but
No, there's
it
not a
has
lot of quit.
it has happened.
Um,
Uh, but it took like a lot of breaking of my teeth in one sitting before I was like, okay, okay, enough of that.
like I don't need to do any more of this. Maybe I don't know. Uh, um. So let's go. Let's go through the chat here real quick. Um. Somebody asked what your favorite axe to use, or what your favorite kind of axe to use is.
Well, it's contextual. Weapons and armor and situations kind of grow up together.
Mm-hmm.
So, a 5 versus 5 is going to involve a lot of close-in fighting and maneuverability. So a short axe around 36 to 40 inches is what I like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, Longer engagements. I like to use the regulation shortest pole arm dual weapon is good. Um, for battlefield engagements, I guess I would say, an axe is about 54 inches.
Ooh, 54 inches.
Yeah. And then, the bigger the field engagement, you get 16 versus 16, 21 versus 21.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want longer pole arms, but that's not really my thing, is the super long pole arms. Because I'm kind of a brawler, I
Yeah.
don't sit down. So,
Well, I mean, you're gonna walk up and take up a position. Like if you find a hole and you can't really swing all that well, you're gonna walk into that hole, or somebody's gonna come and engage you, and you are immediately you gorilla people and just like flip them over you or spin them in one direction, just shove them to the ground. You're pretty ready to deal with a guy coming in to grapple you with you, because they know that if they grapple you, you're not allowed to swing the axe. Like you can't swing the axe if they grapple you.
yeah, I guess they look at it as a better option, I suppose.
I mean, that's generally a better option. Like if somebody gets behind you and just latches onto one arm, like that stops you from doing a lot. In 16s, if that guy can keep you from knocking down 4 of his dudes, I mean that's a fairly reasonable position to be in.
Yep, and people will send guys to just hang on my neck.
Yep.
Well,
Yep. It's like, oh, just hang on, just make him tired. He'll be so tired and pissed off at you. I look at 2 guys. I'm like, that's your asshole. You have to go deal with that man. Like that's who you got. It's really fun fighting on a team with you, though. I tell you what.
well, yeah, because I mean, I'm going to do my job. I mean, that's the thing about when you're fighting with skilled people, is that you don't have to worry about whether they're going to pick up a guy that's run through your line or whatever. He's
Yeah.
got it.
I think it's very nifty that me and you work well together, because I just grab up people and you just can walk over and go, I'm gonna hit them. I'm like, yes, please, right here and right here. You do that now, they fall down. Uh, it comes down to the point where I don't know. Fuck that. I'm not gonna go into ancient history. We don't need to go into ancient history. Um, we'll stay the shit away from that. Um, let's see. I think okay. My buddy Jake McCormick off the Patreon. He's like, I'm trying to get a chapter starting. So what are some things to consider? Yeah.
Consider how spread out you are, and consider that you're going to need a space that, in our case in Arizona, it requires air conditioning, so you need a space. The most successful chapters that I've found have an armory of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a guy that can make some armor. They've got a shop, that kind of thing.
At least fix armor and like make sure you're fitted for armor. Like put arming points on stuff. Like you got to have a guy like that. If you don't, you're kind of stuck. Then you got to figure out how to do it yourself. Which I've actually made multiple videos showing how to put on arming points, how to make arming points, how to rivet, how to peen a rivet. I use butter as an example, for God's sakes. Come on, how goofy can it get? That's why I made those videos, because there's probably not going to be a guy that knows how to do all that shit. So I might as well give you some knowledge, at least like give you a reference point to start out with.
Yeah, so I guess an armory, a place to train. Understand that a lot of people, no matter what you tell them, aren't going to do it. You're going to get a lot of guys that be prepared to have your heart broke, I guess, when you're recruiting.
Yeah, expect that most people that come around, if they come around more than 3 times, you might have something that you can work with. You have to see them multiple times. Don't let out any gear in the first meeting of a human being. Don't give them anything to go home and practice with. Nothing like that.
Yeah, no.
Materials are finite. We all understand this. I actually give a strong suggestion to go find. I don't want to go find some PVC. Go find some blue mat. Make yourself some foam sticks. There's a bunch of stuff about making boffer swords. You can make them as safe as humanly possible. I'd make a bunch of foam shit and just go out and start beating up one of your buddies, and then you'll get people moving in and they want to do stuff. That gets people involved, and you keep them doing foam, because foam is low cost, low impact, doesn't really scare anybody. You can bring a pile of weapons and armor around, and you can show people stuff. You can do show and tell. Like going out to a park and doing some outreach a little bit will definitely get you really far. Because if they see foam weapons and they want to hit each other with foam weapons, like it's not like the biggest jump to go to steel if that's what your plan is already. Um, Keeping people involved, keeping people like excited about coming to meetups and going and doing stuff, I think is a big thing as well. Um, standing around and like putting on armor for an hour is pretty boring for most people that aren't like into the sport already. So I have no idea if I can
And
hear. Oh, there. Okay, now I can hear you.
make sure that they understand that there's different levels of involvement. There are people that want to just bash with their friends, and then there's very competitive people, and they need to understand early on which they are or what their goals are.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have somebody that's not willing to put in the effort to be physically competitive in the sport, and then they go out and fight in a competitive environment, they're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Some people just want to put on armor and bash around with their friends, which is fine and awesome, but make sure that they kind of know what to expect and what their goals are. Otherwise, they'll just be frustrated the whole time.
I see. That's. I feel like understanding where you want to be and what you want to do is good. I think figure like everybody kind of starts in the same vein. If they want to be really serious about it, they're going to be really serious about it, and they're going to jump into it, and they're going to drag their teeth into it, and you're going to be like telling them to shut up, like with them trying to tell you everything about what they're doing. It's gonna like I've had people super excited, get really into it, asking me questions all the time. I'm like, dude, I will give you all of the information. Let me just give it to you all in one chunk, real quick. Um, and then there are some guys that are like, they'll come around every now and again. They'll hang out. They'll do some stuff, and see where they want to go with it. I mean, people are going to be people, and they're going to be able. They have their own lives. They do all kinds of different things, and money is always a problem for everyone. So. Yeah, as you roll your eyes, Simon, we're both very aware of it. Um, Traveling and doing all kinds of crazy stuff on the skin of our teeth and getting from one place to the next, just getting everything taken care of.
Yeah, you don't realize how much effort and resources it takes up until somebody goes, "Oh, really? So, what else do you do?" I'm like, "This is my only thing I do."
Yeah. Um, I think the other thing is what to expect or what to consider. Um, there's a site called startfightinginfo.org or something like that. I'll find a link for it. I'll put it somewhere. Boris has put together a really solid like list of things on that site on that link for information about finding armor, doing things. I think there's some building tutorials on there of a couple of things. But like those being able to like point somebody in a general idea of a direction towards armor, because armor is a major hurdle that we all have to deal with constantly. I'm like Simon and me, we've had suits of armor and we know how to build stuff and do things ourselves to a certain degree, but like being able to find good armors that make good quality product that we can actually wear and be safe in this sport is far and few between at times. There's a lot more armor than there used to be, but it's still you still hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah, and do not buy armor right away.
No.
I'll people.
Um, I mean, like realistically, things to consider. A lot of work. People are gonna come and go. Don't don't agonize over losing a couple of guys, like losing a guy every now and again just to life, because that happens. It takes a special kind of insanity sometimes to jump into this full force, and there are some guys that just do jump into it full force and do the thing, but at the same time, you can't force people. You can't drag them. You can drag them to the water, but you can't make them drink, kind of thing. So, um, how's you said you're training up for this pro fight? You're gonna do 2 minute rounds. How many rounds is it? 5 rounds?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Do you think both of you will make it to the end of 5 rounds?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Like I'm saying second or third round, like just like like cardio wise, like not being able to pick up axes at that point, probably at some point in time for somebody. Um, and then whoever's just getting pummeled, they're gonna get pummeled, and that'll be the end of the fight.
Yeah.
I've seen that in enough. I've seen that in enough fights for like big guys go in there, and I'm like, okay, like they've got 2 minute rounds. Let's see how well they get through it. It's like, okay, third round is really the deciding round most days. Is like, okay, who's gonna not be able to get back up after this throw, kind of thing. TKOs are real.
Yeah, it's been interesting. A pro fight with axes, we've had to modify it because obviously we're not going to be hitting each other on the ground with an
Mm,
axe.
yeah.
So I think what they're doing is I think they're doing like you can punch with a gauntlet on the ground, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't like use the axe on someone on the ground because the pro fight format, there's a certain amount of strikes on the ground, and you can imagine like what would happen if you know you just came down on the ground with somebody who was anviled, on the ground like that.
Uh-uh.
I mean, I'd be willing to have that kind of fight, but it'd have to be for some money, some
Yeah,
good money.
there'd have to be money involved. Like, I'm not
Hmm.
letting nobody like you hit me on the ground like that. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, there'd have to be some serious money involved before there's ground strikes with a two-handed axe. I
Yeah,
mean, God.
no. And you guys are only running like 40-inch axes, right?
I think I don't know. We're gonna use 40 or 50-inch, something like that. Uh, I'm gonna bring a variety. I'm gonna bring a few of them. So,
I
uh,
really wish that you guys had matched axes. Like same weight, same length, like whatever the fuck.
well, I got an axe from American Bowhurt, and I think some people there got some too. So they
Mm.
could be possibly matched.
Yeah, you could match them up. I like having matched weapons for a lot of stuff. I don't know why. Like with axes is pretty easy to match up two axes. It's just like making the handles the same. The heads are close enough most days.
Yeah, I mean, I like mixed weapons actually, just because it showcases a fighter's ability to adapt and change their
Mm-hmm.
game to meet changing circumstances. So I just like it from a challenge standpoint, but also I get what you mean about, you know, a lot of times when you don't have match, like when you have a two-handed axe versus a sword and shield, you know that the sword and shield guy is just going to try to grapple the shit out of the axe guy,
And
and the
make
axe guy is
points.
going to spend all of his time
Mm-hmm.
trying to get the shield guy away from him and hit him.
Yep.
So, I mean, from that aspect, it can be kind of tedious, but I think it's fun to see what people come up with, from a strategy standpoint, because even in melees, so basically one of the rules is the best pro fighters are usually also the best guys in melee,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't wind up with matched weapons in melee
Nope.
almost ever, because the axe guys are going after the backs of the shield guys are going to grapple the axe guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so axe people constantly have to deal with sword and shield guys all the time. So if you want to use pro fights as a tool to up your melee game, I think mixed weapons is actually a wiser time for a wiser format for your time,
Yeah.
because you can develop strategies that could drop or be effective against a sword and shield person who you're going to run into
All over the
all the
place.
time.
Yeah, all over
You
the
know,
place. Well, that's a thing that I like press at practices and stuff like that. Like, hey, sword and shield guy, go grapple with this two-handed axe guy. Get out of the grapple, clear him, or effectively throw him to the ground. You have to get away from that asshole because your job is to hit people. Don't let him grapple you up and stop you from hitting people. That works out well. I like doing 2-on-1 drills. Like, how do you position yourself as the one man in a two-man drill? And how do the two guys work together to call out things, to make plays, to make movements on the other guy to take him down quicker and more efficiently? I find that as a problem. Like when you get a 2-on-1, most times in these fights, the second guy doesn't know what to do. And he's just kind of like pounding on him or pulling on him, or he's grabbed a hold of him too. I'm like, no, why is two of you holding on to him? Start doing something. Kick out his leg. Try something else.
or worse yet, you get two guys pulling in opposite directions, holding the guy up.
Holding the guy up.
I've seen it. It's like a Three Stooges movie.
There have been a couple of fights where I'm like, God damn it, like, like why? Wait, that guy's grappling his own dude. No.
Yeah.
Um. Found out most people leave because a significant other doesn't support what the fighter wants to do. Like, that's reasonable. If you're not, like sometimes if you're not a fighter, it doesn't feel like there's a lot for you to be involved with. You kind of feel like there's more that can be done. There's other things that can be done at steel fighting. Support is extremely important, and we thank people. It's just not nearly as fun to get to go out in the heat and not swing steel at people.
Yeah, and I mean, they don't have to be there. I mean, I guess if you're in a relationship where you're not allowed to have a hobby that's your own, you got bigger problems than steel fighting.
Um,
You know, and honestly, like I thought you were going to say something different, which was you're not a fighter if that's the paradigm of your relationship because you've got somebody telling you what to do.
no, that wasn't where I was gonna go with that.
Well,
No,
I guess I hear that a lot, and I just like the idea of me not doing something that I love because someone tells me not to or gets jealous of my time. The idea of even being in that kind of a relationship is so foreign to me that I don't get it. Like it's just I've had people come up to me before and be like, "Oh, and what does your girlfriend think about this?" Or "And your girlfriend lets you do this?" Blah blah. They say that, and I just I'm stunned. Usually, I'm like, "What are you talking about? What planet do you think that exists that I'd have a girlfriend that would dream of telling me not to do this or anything?"
yeah, it's I just look at it as like, okay, we're gonna go do the thing. If my finances are mixed with somebody else's, and I want to go and do this really expensive sport, that's a very important part to look at.
Absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you that if your finances are mixed with other people's, or you've got kids, and your ass needs to be doing some babysitting and splitting some time up on chores or whatever, that's a different discussion.
Yeah,
That's time management. That's being courteous and resources and having a partner. I get it, but that whole like my girlfriend or wife won't let me do something. I don't know.
people's relationships are people's relationships, and I just like it's all crazy enough in this world to just try and get through life. I don't need to add in all that extra shit. Um, so, by the way, I want everybody to know. Here's a fun fact. Let's go with trivia time about Simon. If you ever have put on a fucking helmet with a chest plate and you've been asked, "Hey, is your Simon strap attached?" That's the guy. This guy right here. This guy here. That's him. Um, an accident happened. Some things went down. Simon ended up with a bunch of stitches in his head and a cracked skull. That'll happen. You get asked about it every time you go on to some program. I'm not going to ask you about it.
Hey, there's a video on my YouTube channel if you want to watch it happen.
There is a video on his YouTube channel. Go ahead and shill yourself for a minute, and then I'll shill. We'll have a little commercial moment.
Oh, I was just saying, I've got a YouTube channel. Just type my name into YouTube, you'll find it. It's got a video of that on there. I have an Instagram as well. I go by my real name everywhere. So, and there's only one Simon Rohrich on the planet. So I'm pretty easy to find. And the YouTube channel's got a lot of really cool content. It shows stuff from the United States' first efforts in the sport. And I think it's the only place that you can find it because I had the wherewithal to take camera video.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't believe what we were into. So I'm like, well, we got to document this.
I need pictures of this shit.
Yeah. So
it's like, hey, remember that time we willingly walked into Blenders? Yeah, I got videos of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you check out my YouTube channel, there's a lot of old history there and some new stuff. You can watch me do terrible things to people.
That's generally what his videos are about, is him hitting people with axes.
Yeah. You can watch my overrated skills beat up newbies only.
Oh yeah, really is that the main commentary you get?
No, but I've heard it.
I have no doubt, because a lot of the people you do hit in those videos are newer folk. There's been a major influx in new guys. Like compared to Simon, like all of us are new people. I mean, I wouldn't be, like, whatever, but like when you look around and you don't recognize every person in the room and you don't know who the fuck they are, it's a different kind of time. And me and Simon have both commentated on that individually, not bringing it up to one another. We just like go like, man, I don't recognize half these assholes. I'm like, and I know, I completely agree.
I think it's great. I think it's great
awesome.
Because the sport is growing. It used to be I knew every single person's name in the entire country that did that. So, It's I don't know how many have you ever gotten any numbers about how many fighters there are?
I don't know. I'm probably I like in armor is probably every bit of 900. I'd give it to 1100 in that like range, maybe like
In
maybe
armor?
800. I'd put it up there maybe to 1,000, just because people that have kit or are waiting on kit or have partial kit, like I give that credence.
Oh,
Um, like I don't know, probably like fully in armored fighters in the United States, probably like every bit of 400, 500.
that's actually what I was going to say too about 400.
But there's like five other leagues that have popped up that we don't like hear from. With they're starting out, they've got big crews of people coming together and doing stuff like Mace up there in Michigan, I think it is. Um, the Mace Fighting League. Then there's the thing down in Florida. There's HMB. There's AMCF. There's ACS. There's ACW. Nobody talks to nobody no more. Nobody wants to tell nobody what they're doing. It's like fuck.
Yeah, I've seen the Mace thing once, but I thought that was just I thought it was an abbreviation for another club. I didn't know that that was a whole other organization.
It's a whole nother organization, to my knowledge.
And then I don't know what thing are you talking about in Florida?
Derek Flickcroft's doing something down there. I don't know what he's doing. I should ask him what he's doing. Um, but like we've commentated on the fact that we don't specifically deal with one human being, like one group of people. We try to like spread out and go and fight where we want to fight, kind of thing. And there are some people that are like, I don't know how the hell you guys do that. I'm like, we just ignore. We ignore all the extraneous bullshit we find fighting. We go fight.
Yeah, I mean, you get people that I've had that debate with people, and of course, sometimes they'll wheel out the loyalty thing, and I'm like, are you paying me? I don't know what you're talking about. Loyalty to what? I mean, it's an organization. It's not, I don't own. I'm not getting profit sharing from that organization, so I don't really like, and they don't pay me, so I don't know what loyalty you're talking about. I fight where I want to fight, and that's that.
I have a certain amount of credence with the amount of people, like the people that I want to go and hang out with and go fight with and stuff like that. If there's more of them at one event than one other event that's happening that weekend, I'm like, I'm probably gonna go to that event because I like hanging out with my friends and shit like that and beating people up.
Yeah, I look at it like a cost thing too.
Yeah.
As in Arizona, a flight to LA is $150.
Mm-hmm.
A flight to the East Coast is 500, 600.
Yeah,
You
something
know,
stupid.
so just from that aspect alone, I can rent a car and drive to LA or San Diego and back for the weekend.
Yeah.
And have a car and the whole bit. So it's also an economic and location thing. We've talked about this before, how in Europe and places, they driving 4 hours to an event is crazy talk to them. And there are fighters and organizations that will drive 15 hours to get to an event every weekend.
Yeah. And we've seen them do it. I mean, Texas was on a pretty big roll there before the shutdown hit us. They were going everywhere, fighting everyone.
Yeah, I think they like broke a record or something. They set a record for how much traveling and fighting they did in one season or something like that.
Yeah. Just silly shit. And I'm glad that Texas has made a push. They've blown up that area. I really like the guys on their team throwing around. And I like the fact that Brett is putting in some real effort to move the sport along in different directions. He's adding a lot more knowledge to the pool. Same with Dustin Gunnarsson up in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I mean, it's really been good to see the transition where physical fitness and martial arts are really getting a push.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's HEMA clubs that are starting to understand the value of what we're doing, because especially if you explain it to them in the way that we're researching an armored combat experience. There are certainly flaws to how we fight. There's a lot of, we can't thrust and stuff. We set up some bad habits. But at the end of the day, there's no format that will give you the same experience that this will, as far as what it's like to fight in armor.
Yeah.
So, they kind of, there's sort of an idea that we're a bunch of thugs, and there's some truth to that. There's also, from a research standpoint, if you want to talk about research or things, we are at the cutting edge of researching an experience,
Yeah.
and so when you put it in those kinds of terms, a lot of times some of the more academic HEMA guys can then get behind you. And we've got a really great HEMA club called Mordhau here in Phoenix that they do a great job, and some of the instructors have real, let's just say, very physical government based jobs,
Yeah.
and uh, so they understand, fighting and
Yes.
the sparring and stuff like that. So it's been nice to see some HEMA groups playing with the armored combat stuff now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's getting better because I'm watching people's greatsword techniques just skyrocket
It's great.
when
It's
it's
great to watch. It's great to watch actual training happen instead of just okay, make it better so you can chop for longer. I'm like, no, add in parries, add in like wards and strikes and guards and steps. Actually, do things. It'll be great.
yeah, lines and tempos crazy.
Oh,
I
who
don't know.
knows? I don't know what to do with it. Actually, this segue is pretty good into this question. What is the danger to fun ratio in armored combat for you two?
It's the same. Danger and fun are the same word to me.
Yeah. So here's like there's a quote that I'm probably gonna butcher, but my buddy Andrew once said he doesn't care about his safety or yours in reference to Simon.
Oh,
Like he's
yeah.
he's
Somebody said that. They said my superpower was that I have no regard for my own safety nor anybody else's.
maybe it was Ringo, but I think Andrew said it to me once when we were talking about fighting you guys when you were on the Eagles and we were in the First Swords. It's like, oh yeah, Simon.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't. That's true. I don't react to fear like most people,
No,
and I don't react to danger like most people.
nope.
Um, that's okay. If something bad happens because I was doing something heroic, then that's a great way to go.
I mean, that's kind of the thought process. You know, the guys that run towards the bullets, run
Yeah,
towards gunshots. It's kind of a thing.
yeah.
Um, and like realistically, like my danger to fun ratio, I know what I'm walking into. I know that I'm willingly walking into a blender. It's how like people ask me what our sports like. I'm like, it's like putting on armor and then walk into a blender. Like that's the best option I can give you there. It's basically a blunted blender full of dudes. There's meat in there. It's getting blended. Um, like I know that there's a certain amount of risk that I take walking into a fight. I mitigate that risk by like blocking things and moving around and not getting trapped. It's called being a good fighter. Having a good combat sense to yourself mitigates that danger to a certain degree. When you're a new guy, everything's dangerous, and every new guy is dangerous because they're willing to do really goofy shit that you've never seen before. Newbie foo is a very correct term. um, like sometimes they just do something wacky and they're like, "How did that fucking work?" It's because you didn't expect it at all. It came out of complete left field and fucked you over. um, so I mitigate it in that way, shape, or form. Like I just take my experience and go, okay, like I know this could possibly happen. I mean, shit, I've been hit with a hammerhead. It happens. He was handed the axe backwards. Freak accidents, whatever. They always happen. But I haven't seen anybody die. We've had some serious problems. I take faith. I put faith in my armor. I take faith in the fact that I put all of it on, and that I know that I'm covered and I know where I'm not covered, kind of thing. Taking your life in your own hands. I don't know. Maybe.
And if it wasn't dangerous, would it be as fun?
Fuck no. That'd be a lot of goddamn work for not a lot of like payout.
Well, that's why paintball is more exciting than laser tag because there's physical consequence.
Yes.
You get hit.
Actually, I've been watching airsoft a lot lately. I've been watching this guy like creep around in a little in a whole like boonie vest, and he just goes out and he snipes people. I'm like, how in the shit are you doing this with little tiny plastic BBs? And I just love watching it because he just murks people all day long. Adds a little hit marker from like Call of Duty on there. Like every time he hits somebody, he's like, blip, puts a little hit marker down. It's great.
The first person shooter thing.
He's got a rifle, but then he puts a GoPro on the side of the front of the rifle, so you basically see where he's aiming at. I'm like, oh, that's dope. That's great. Like he made it Call of Duty with airsoft, sure.
Yeah, like people were putting GoPro cameras on their helmets in our sport.
Yeah,
Same thing.
Sometimes that gets all wacky because of how you look at things. Like most of the time, you're not like looking at who you're fighting. Sometimes when you're in grapple, you're looking at the rest of the field. And you're like, what the hell else is going on? They have no idea what's going on in front of you, how your fight's going. They're just seeing everything else that's happening. Or the people that wear it on their chest and literally their shield and their hands are in front of the camera, and somebody grapples them, and all you see is armor plate for like half an hour.
Yeah, yeah. It takes from. That's why I think the drone technology for drone cameras, I think, is where to go for us for it.
We had that for one Havasu, and then we never saw the footage from it. I think we only saw that teaser, and they didn't give us the rest of the footage. I'm like, guys, I wanted to see me take out Cole Fowler from across the ring. I literally bullhowed that man with so much speed that we just the Striking Eagles didn't know what to do. I'm like, yes. Wait, there's no video of it? Sad days. The best moments are never found on camera. Like, it's never a thing. Does... What? That is the most... Robert Steinbecker, I don't really think this, like... I'm not even going to go through that one. Based on your experiences, long hair disadvantage in armored combat, is there any way to get around it?
I don't really have long hair. I had like a man bun for a little while, but that's more of a Paul question, I think.
I had long hair for a little while there. I figured out. I went to the barber, and he looked at me. He's like, your helmet's cutting your hair off, right? Like it had just gotten down to that point, and I didn't put it up in a ponytail or anything else like that. He's like, I'm like, what? He's like, the back part is like shorter because your helmet keeps chopping it off or ripping it out. And I'm like, well, is it like destroying my hair? He's like, yes, you should cut your hair shorter if you're gonna keep wearing fucking helmets, you malcontent. I'm like, okay, sure, chop it short. So that kind of went. Like most of the people I know that like have long hair in the sport are like either braiding it, they're tucking it up in a bun, they're putting it up in their helmet, or they're just letting it out the back and they're like tucking it at the base of their neck or something like that. Wherever the helmet gives them a little bit of gap to bundle it up and they keep it out of the way. So, Wellington McSkellington. Hey Simon, I'm the guy who made that Darkest Dungeon fan art of you. Hope you two are having a nice day.
Oh yeah, that's cool. He made a game mod for Darkest Dungeon with a playable character.
It looked dope. I saw that.
And he's got the animations done now too. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's kind of amusing.
Yeah.
And, it's always nice when that kind of stuff happens. It's a really surreal experience when a total stranger takes that much interest in you.
Yeah, I've had a couple of people draw me, like do like chibi versions or anime versions of me. The anime version's pretty dope. Like they're like your helmet needs to be drawn and the rest of you needs to be drawn with it. I'm like, cool, thank you. That thing looks creepy as shit. So I don't know, fuck it.
You should post that up.
No, it's on Instagram. I'll have to find it again because they tagged me in it. So, one moment we're gonna take a moment for station identification. I just threw a link through the link tree down there in the chat. We've got t-shirt pre-orders going on. They stop the 29th, so 6 days from now. Patreon's up and running. The last couple of videos, they've seen those first. We've got multiple different. There's a cheap tier. There's a mid tier. There's all kinds of tiers. Go take a look at it. It's on the link tree. And we got all kinds of stuff going on the channel. I'm talking here with Simon, Rourke, Nerd Rage, Man and Myth. Generally not a myth though. You know who the hell he is because he hits you with the axe. And he's he's an old friend and a good teammate of mine. We've fought in other goddamn countries, in this damn country, all over the place. And we've both brutalized the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
It is like Jesus Christ. Like there are creases in my armor that I wore on Night Fight that are from you. They're very they're there.
Yeah, I remember there was a backplate that I buried in your body.
You actually shoved. You hit right on the edge of my gorget and drove one plate directly into this nerve bundle in my trap that shut off my left side. And I was like, dope, dude. That felt awesome.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what plates are 2-inch by 2-inch plates? And I think I bent one.
No, they're 2-inch by 2-inch plates, and you hit across 3 of them up here, and you dented 2 of them. And then there's a couple of shots down my spine where you dented several of them in one shot. I was like, great.
Plate. You need plate in this game, man.
My whole new suit is based off of Italian like 16th century full version ape helmet with a fucking full breastplate. Like fuck you.
Oh. Yeah,
Like
those guys are harder. That's a harder nut to crack.
generally, but here's the thing: Ironcrab Metalworks is making out of like lighter gauge 4130, and I can spec it out in the directions because I can go help work on it. I can spec out where I want certain thicknesses of steel and where I want certain thicknesses of steel, so I can make it as optimized as humanly possible, and make it fit me so I can actually still run in the son of a bitch.
That's
That's a
cool.
big that's a big thing. Like Bobby D never really could run in his full plate. Derek does a pretty good job running around his breastplate and full plate legs. So
Yeah, I got to test his legs out at a tournament a while back, and he didn't seem all that phased when I was hitting him.
no. I also like leg shots. Like those are meant to take impact. I don't know how. Like sometimes hitting the leg, you make them quit. Like they just drop, and then sometimes you're just like, how are you still standing through this? I should have broke your femur a while ago. God damn. You don't have nearly as many problems with that, do you?
No, because nobody can get to my legs because
Yeah.
they're so short.
Yes. Like they stay away from me. Um. So let's see. Does religion play a part in your decision to fight?
No.
Okay, neither did me. So we don't need to expand on that. I don't know what you expected from that question, but that's what you get. um. So what? There was a question that's a little bit more involved. Where do you see the sport in 5 to 10 years? Where do you see the sport in 5 years?
I joke around about that, especially if I think about it too much. I read a lot of science fiction, and cyberpunk is one of my favorite sort of genres. And I always thought I've daydreamed about it, where there'd be some old, two-dimensional picture of me on a wall, and you on a wall, and it'd be like those old school 1920s football guys, where it's like it talks about how they started off in the backyard playing football in 1920s with little helmets. And now, our sport, leads to real blood sport gladiator games for big money and cash, like Running Man or something like that. And it'd be nice to be known as like the group that sort of planted that seed of dystopian blood sports. That's really
um,
cool.
what's that?
But
Blood of Heroes? Is it Blood of Heroes with jugging?
yeah, exactly. But that's probably more than 5 years away. That's more like 20 or
Yeah.
50. But it'd be nice to be on a wall somewhere as the start of voluntary death games, blood sport games.
It'd be
Put on
interesting.
paper. Well, it's interesting because we are a combat sport. We do use weapons, and if you were to extrapolate, if it becomes a commercial success, then the next thing that somebody's going to do to compete with our sport is to make it more and more dangerous until the one-up game winds up with somebody dying on TV and everybody loves it.
Yeah.
And it's totally legal because it's on like a big ship out in international waters or something,
Yep. It's not. I don't see that in the next 10 years. Thank God.
No. But when you talk about the future of the sport, it's sort of amusing to think about.
Oh yeah, like
In the
just
next 5 years, it'd be nice to get to. I've managed to get paying gigs. I've managed to have different things pay for itself. But I'm super rare. I think there's only a few people that have managed to do that, and
Yeah.
I'd like to see it be an occupation. I'd like to see it where kind of like how jousting is now. You've got enough Renaissance festivals and things that create an economy for people that are into jousting to kind of make a living if they were to dedicate themselves enough to it. I'd like to see that be a possibility for our sport.
I can see that to a certain degree, but I always think it'll be very small, like a smaller niche group of that situation. Just because there are so many other people that can go and put on a much better show, like fun to watch, kind of flashy bullshit fighting with rapiers, a lot less armor, it's a lot less effort, and you're not really killing each other.
I think the audiences are getting smarter, though. Look at when you have MMA stars doing action films, and when they train, you can see their training, and you can see the difference in the fighting. Yes, I agree that the choreographed stuff is always going to be, I guess, maybe have a higher entertainment value, but I think that there's definitely a place where people are going to know the difference.
Hmm.
I don't think anybody's going to be, having a living in Beverly Hills doing this sport, but
No,
maybe you could make a decent living at it if you're at the top tier of the game, and
you can stay
uh,
healthy.
right, and you stay healthy.
I always thought about like starting small with like a couple of like amateur wrestling crews that go around to different cities and just be a part of that show a little bit and try and expand more from there, and maybe fall in line with somewhere in there. And I knew there were talks about that at some point in time, trying to work with the WWE or something goofy like that.
Yeah, when
Um,
COVID happened and put a wrench in all that shit.
I have no doubt, like everything got fucked. As everything has basically gotten fucked. The fact that I've been talking about and looking at going to Dragon Con is like a fucking a squirrely bird idea for me right now. Just thinking about it, like that's 50 odd thousand people.
I'd like to go to that, but I don't even know the first beginning of logistics for that kind of situation. And I think it's around the same time as Wasteland Weekend, and Wasteland Weekend is my jam. So
I'm very aware. I want to make it out to Wasteland Weekend too, because that just looks like a ball and a half.
yeah, that's an understatement.
Are they having Wasteland Weekend this year?
They are. They
Nice.
are. Yeah.
What's that like? The beginning of September?
It's the third weekend of September if the date hasn't changed.
Okay. Dragon
Con
Con
is-
is the first week of September.
Yeah, I just can't do two
It's
things like that in the same month.
huge. And how far away is Wasteland Weekend for you?
Wasteland Weekend is 6 hours away. I can drive
Yeah.
hours and then right.
It's
And
it's Georgia. Georgia's literally across the goddamn country in a diagonal line for you.
yeah, and also not only that, but hotel, hotel expenses in a place that everything's already taken up. So
Yeah, it's pretty fucking terrible. I won't deny it at all. Just live with that.
yeah, I mean, going to Dragon Con would be like a grand in the form of lost wages and cost for room and
Nah, it
whoever
would
else.
it would just be the cost. That would just be your cost.
Yeah.
Really, like I looking at it, that's just the cost. And I'm like, wow, okay, how do we do this? This will be interesting. Um, okay, so where did you get your sweet helmet, Paul? I had it made by a guy named Ilya from BKS. He doesn't make armor anymore. He just won best sword at a blade show. Good for him. He does awesome work. Um, they hit up BKS. They do all kinds of crazy stuff, and Matt Stagmer and Ilya are doing that works. That's what they're doing. Next question: how do you prepare before a fight? Meals, hydration. Elaborate.
I don't eat real heavy before a fight. I get some simple carbs in. Um, you don't want to be waterlogged, so you don't want to have too much water in you. Drink till you're not thirsty, but don't overdo it. Because you're gonna sweat a lot during a fight, but you're not gonna. It's not long enough really to need a whole bunch of extra water. But yeah, simple carbohydrates.
You're
A
talking on
couple.
the day. You're talking on the day of, right?
Yeah, yeah, like that morning. A little bit of oatmeal or something like that. Maybe some peanut butter
Yeah.
and maybe some honey just before. As far as preparing for a fight, I usually transition. If you're talking about the week before, the 2 weeks before, I usually transition from weight training to cardio, just because weight training. The last thing you want to do, every time you weight train, there's a small percentage statistical chance you're going to hurt yourself.
Hmm.
So, I mean, no matter what you do, it's just math. So, if you can,
Mitigate as many of the factors, as many of the risk factors as humanly possible in your workouts is definitely a thing you should be
yeah,
doing.
yeah, and also too, if you do manage to hurt yourself, 2 or 3 weeks out, there's a chance you can recover before your fight. But if
Hmm.
you blow your shoulder a day before your fight,
Yeah, don't go do power sets before you
and
go to a fight.
get maxed out or anything like that before
No.
2 weeks before fighting, none of that kind of stuff.
Um, yeah, that's generally how I feel about it. I go to technique in the 2 weeks before a fight. I go to technique. I go to cardio. I try to get as much sleep rolling up to the fight as I can. I try to make sure that I have a solid sleep schedule where I'm catching enough sleep in the evening so I can actually heal from all of the work I'm doing to myself and everything else like that. And I'm going in as healed and as well rested as humanly possible. I up my water intake actually to up my like the level of hydration that I can have the 2 weeks leading up. But the night before, I usually drink like I take half a gallon of water and I take half a liter of Pedialyte, and I pour that Pedialyte into the gallon of water, and I drink that. The morning of, the other half of that Pedialyte gets mixed together with another half liter of water, and then I sip on that all morning just to keep the sugar up, keep the zinc up, keep the potassium up. That has always made sure that I'm able to go throughout the whole day with only having small amounts of water put into my body at one time. I'm not like gulping down shit. I'm not making my belly full of water at that point in time, but I'm just maintaining the tank of hydration. And at the end of the day, I don't have a fucking headache because I'm dehydrated as shit. It's been something I found. I know that Pedialyte's really like kind of a scam. I understand it, but it does have the zinc and the potassium in it, which is a major thing for your body to absorb things while you're going through stuff. Any feelings on that, Simon?
No, I mean
I'm
it
waiting.
sounds
I'm
smooth.
waiting for you to yell at me about drinking Pedialyte.
No, I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. It doesn't even matter. They've shown that it can be psychological too. So whatever ritual you have is going to be
Do the
works for
ritual.
you.
Yeah. Um, and realistically, like just making sure you don't hurt yourself before a fight. Check over all your armor before the fight. Like you do the full checklist of like making sure that all your shit's set up. You feel your axes. If you look at your action and go, I need to put a new handle on this, or I'm going to break it during the fight. Would you rather break your weapon during a fight and go into something else, or do you want to figure out the weapon first and make sure it doesn't fucking break in the middle of a fight? Just thoughts. Sometimes it doesn't matter that Simon checks his weapon handles because they just all break anyways. It doesn't matter. Whoa.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Although, so with a short axe, with the format that we're doing with the fight at Warlords, short axes probably won't have a problem with breaking handles.
You probably won't, other than maybe if he like does the cross block hard on one of your down strikes. Like he just
Yeah,
recovers real quick to get to it. You'll snap that shit right in half.
yeah, I do that a lot because people, will do a parallel block, overhead block, and they'll be parallel to the weapon, and we'll just go right through it.
If you're going to block something that's coming from overhead, instead of going straight up and down like this, go slanted. Take a slant, like throw a slant and throw it to the side of wherever direction he's going. That's going to pitch his weight even further the other direction, so you can take advantage of the fact that you knocked him off balance. Like, don't just hold it flat, perpendicular to the strike, because it's just going to snap the handle in half. Except for this thing, because it's got languettes that go all the way down to here.
Oh wow,
It's
nice.
back and front languetted. I don't get it. This axe is actually made by a company over in Russia called World Workshop III. I did a full review of this axe, smashing stuff. And then we've also got this axe that's made on a full wood handle. That's on a poly plastic handle. You wouldn't be able to snap that in half, Simon. Tell you what. It's poly plastic with a fiberglass core going through it. It's ridiculous. I can stand on it, bounce on it, it'll go back to straight.
That's all good.
Yeah. From a rules perspective, if they don't know, they don't know.
You just said it on your live stream, man.
What?
You just said it on your live stream.
I know. I made a whole video about them. I made a whole video about it. Like, I am completely aware of it. I've been yelled at about it. I'm like, look, it's what I was given. They wanted to try a thing out. They tried a thing out. And nobody yells at them about it just yet. So we'll see what happens. But wood handles still break. Everything breaks. It doesn't matter. Do you use any supplements beforehand? Like I take a daily supplement. I take daily vitamins and shit. But I mean, otherwise, supplements. I don't know.
I mean, just a banana to keep up potassium. I mean,
Yeah.
with some simple food, simple sugars. I made the mistake one time of drinking a couple Bang drinks before a fight, and I almost died.
Yeah, both you and Bam Bam did that because you all got sucked in by really pretty energy drink girls. They got you.
They did. They totally got me by my limbic system, and
Yes.
and then I thought I was gonna die. Like I felt so mortally close to mortality that I came off the ring, and all I could think about was trying to get to the chair under my own power. and I felt so awful. I actually had the thought go through my head, I wonder if I'm going to die. And then I immediately went, I don't even care, because if I die, it's not my problem anymore. Like I had given, like I had
I have come to
decided.
this reasoning in my brain that it doesn't matter anymore. Just get to the fucking chair, guy. If you die,
Yeah,
you die.
exactly. And because it was bad. I mean, I don't ever drink energy drinks really, and it turns out those Bang things are like the strongest ones ever made or some shit. And yeah, not a good idea. So if people are trying to tell you to do pre-workout or something else before a fight, do not,
That give you
because
heart palpitations, for God's sakes.
yeah, your aorta will explode or something. I mean,
Ah.
not good.
I remember Bam Bam telling me about, like, he's like, dude, when you were holding me at the end of those rounds, I was like, no, I don't need to be here anymore. Like Brandon Ross was gonna come hit me with an axe, and I literally thought my heart was exploding out of my chest. Like, it probably was, dude. Like,
So, yeah, I mean, I could see maybe the attraction for pre-workout stuff because I see people talk about it on the internet all the time, but do
mm,
not do it.
it is what it is. I mean, I don't like try to do that shit anymore. I used to take a 5 hour energy before I go through the day, but I also knew that we weren't starting until like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was
Mhm.
like, fuck it, we got time.
Yes.
If I know that I'm getting there early to sit through duels to be ready for melees, I'm gonna be sitting around for 4 hours. I'll go and drink a cup of coffee before a fight because it helps me poop. I feel better.
Well, yeah. I mean, a cup of coffee is one thing. That's definitely talk about prepping before a fight. I have my own ritual, and that is a nice long poop. Drinking coffee in the morning, make that happen. Even when I think about fighting in armor, makes me want to poop.
Yeah,
Not sure
it's
why.
it's it's terrible. It's like the last thing you want to do, and intentionally your brain is just going, guess what? Got to do it.
Yeah, I always have to poop before a fight. I'm not really sure what that's
maybe
about.
maybe it's maybe it's your body going, you don't want to do this in armor. Do it now.
Well, a friend of mine said something to me that made sense. That maybe there's an evolutionary thing in there that because you're getting ready to fight, you're ready to have a conflict. That there's a mechanism that maybe doesn't have you don't have poop in your bowels. So if you get a gut injury or something like that, you're not septic, and so over time, that's just what our bodies do just before a conflict, is we want to avoid ourselves or something like that. And I've done some googling, and there's some truth to it.
Wow, that's not surprising. I mean, animals do that to try and deter them from being eaten. They'll just
Yeah.
poop all over themselves. Just like, it's my poop. You don't want to eat this poop. Like, it
Oh
makes
yeah.
sense.
If you ever catch a rat, look for a rat by hand. They do that. That's what they do.
Yeah, they just put it everywhere. Um, I used to catch raccoons and stuff like that and get them the fuck out, and they just shit everywhere. I'm like, God damn it! Like, living in the country, that's what I get. Um, Recommendations on cardio for the sport. I know sprints and helmet time are always recommended. Anything else? I suggest agility ladders, the footwork drills that you watch football players do. It's literally just boxes on the ground that looks like a ladder laid flat on the floor. And you do the different drills and you do different things. Agility drills are definitely very important for us. Being able to have good footwork and building up that intensity in the feet, I think, is very important.
Yeah. So hiking is one of the things that people. It doesn't sound intuitive, but if you put on armor, you don't want to do any long distance running in armor ever because it's going to screw up your joints. But hiking is low impact.
Hmm.
You're constantly dealing with balance, coordination, and sight issues, and you're also using elevation changes to get all of your cardio. So you're not really going fast, you're not jarring yourself, but you're getting all of the cardio of going up a hill and that kind of thing. And if you do it with a helmet on, you do it in full gear, you're gonna get used to moving around and dealing with balance and uneven ground and footing and all that while getting a really hard workout.
Hmm.
And it actually there's a medieval workout manual that was written by a knight, and hiking was one of the things for that.
Interesting. Like, there's a historical correlation to going and doing it.
Yep.
That's great. I can't argue with it. Like, I walk up and down the road. I walk a half mile down and a half mile back, and I go up 2 hills. It's great.
Well, it's not it's more the rough trail hiking,
Ah, okay.
that has that benefit. Just going up a hill or down a hill. I mean, that's has benefit, but it's about the footwork and the balance and
dealing with the terrain and smoozling all across it. Yes.
yeah.
Like for cardio, otherwise, like I do wind sprints and stuff. I go run around foam fighting because I'm doing combative things and I'm also doing like full wind sprints. And if you do that in a gambeson, you get used to the heat too. You add on to that. It looks good in garb. You can run around. You can also heat train yourself a little bit at that time too. Don't overdo it because once you become one victim of heat, you are always a victim of heat.
And it also lets everybody know watching you what you really do.
Yes, very good.
Let's not forget that that's also part of it.
Yeah, like you go out and make a show of yourself. Like recruiting from LARP areas is definitely a good plan. Always fucking do it. It's like that is a very good vector. They already want to hit people with sticks. Can we make that steel? Like it's not that far a jump. It's a lot of money. It's not that far a jump. Simon, real quick, how much do you think you've spent on armor in your period of time?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 grand.
I'm probably at about that point too. You've gone through like 2 suits though, right?
Um, I've actually got 3. I've gone through 3 now. Body armor. I've still got the original legs from 2012. They're like 14 gauge spring stainless because we didn't know what we were going to do or what we were going to face. So they weigh a ton. I've got my original greaves, different arms, but been through 3 sets of body armor. I still have them. Actually, there's
Isn't
one
that
right
just
there.
because they fell apart in some of them?
Well, one of not really. I mean, I just got more and more protective ones, and then also I've had different manufacturers donate equipment to me because when I say something's good or when I say people should wear the thing or whatever, it usually makes people tens of thousands of dollars. Like
Generally,
Greta
yes.
Gauntlet, for example. Greta Gauntlet, he got to quit his job. American Bohurt axe guy, he's at a point where he could probably start doing his axe stuff full time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get donated gear a lot. So it looks like I've got more armor. That I spent more money on armor, but honestly, I've been really fortunate to have patrons in the very sort of Roman-esque sort of way.
Yeah.
Daniel Stool on the East Coast has like literally bought me axe heads, and he's like, "I just want to see you drop people, make people unconscious with the axe that I buy you."
Yeah.
So, I've been really fortunate in that regard.
Yeah, like I've had the same kind of like goodwill given to me, and I try to return it in kind to people. Like that axe was given to me because they're like, hey, we want you to try it, and we want you to beat the ever living shit out of it. Like let's see how much you can break it. And I mean, realistically, I didn't. Like they gave that to me, and I put it through the ringer, and I couldn't break it. I hit a damn anvil for God's sake, like hard as shit, straight on, hard as I could. Didn't blemish it. I'm like, wow, okay. That's 5135 tool steel is apparently pretty good. No cracks, no rolling in the blade, no nothing. It's blemish free, other than being around me, so it's got a little bit of a surface patina. Um, you guys used to give me so much shit for having so much rust. I'm like, I didn't paint the inside of my armor. Sorry, guys, eat dicks.
Yeah, I wish my armor was actually a little better looking, but I've literally had people tell me that that's sort of my thing now is to have this dented, kind of rusted patina armor.
Yeah.
It's like that's my sort of paradigm now. I'm like, well, I don't know if I like that, but I get it. And because I do the wasteland thing too, I like dented, worn stuff.
And everything's kind of the same shit brown gray color. Like metal grade gray brown color. All of it's like the same patina. It works. It looks great. Nobody gives a shit. It's fine. Like that thing. I clean the face. The rest of the helmet has just been aged and to perfection with a patina of perfect. Then I get yelled at. And then I get yelled at. Okay. What do you guys think about cross training like Muay Thai and Judo? Extremely important. Judo is really useful. They're going to teach you tournament judo, which is going to be a lot of you going down to the ground too. But if you are able to twist it to boo hurt a little bit more and use it in your grappling classes, and make sure that you remember your rules. Like, hey, I don't want to go down to the ground with a guy. You can become a lot more efficient, a lot more like scary. It's fucking mean.
Yeah, I would second the grappling. Any kind of grappling art is going to be worthwhile, especially the judo, jujitsu stuff, just because like a lot of the trips and throws, learning how to maneuver and balance and being able how to feel a guy,
Mm-hmm.
how to feel how a guy's going to move when he's grabbing hold of you, and all the instincts that grappling comes with it is key.
High school
Muay Thai,
wrestling is huge for people because they already understand that physical, that like weight manipulation that you can play in the grapple.
yeah. And I mean that's my original background was high school wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
and then being a bouncer for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
It's
I
like,
places where you can't call the cops.
yeah.
So it's grappling is important. Muay Thai stuff. I mean, it'll probably help you with kicks if you do some kicks, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not. If I had to pick one and had a certain amount of time to devote to a cross trained martial art, it would always be grappling. And that applies to either Bohort or anything else, because bar fights and self defense situations you wind up grappling too. So between
90% of
all,
the time, if the first attack doesn't happen, the grapple happens. How do you
yeah,
like evade the grapple or take advantage of the grapple to end at a position of power that you can kick their head in? Like that's generally my thought process when I was bouncing. Like if somebody came at me with something and I didn't immediately like attack them back, how do I redirect them, put them on the floor? Because putting someone on the ground is the most demoralizing thing you could do to them. Least of like killing them or peeing on them. Like that's like the worst thing you can do to a person, like psyche wise, in the middle of a fight. I put you on the ground. Either I can kill you from this position, or I can at least keep you in this position for the cops to show up, and then they can deal with you. That was kind of the bouncer situation, like make you as safe as humanly possible on the floor. You
yeah.
bastard. How many beer bottles have you had brandished at you?
A few.
Enough. Enough. Jack
Usually don't
Daniel
get that
bottles
far.
are scary.
Yeah, they don't usually get that far.
No, no. One guy just grabbed it off the bar and smashed the Jack Daniels bottle. I'm like, square corners that are broken are fucking frightening. Like, that's not a cool thing you want coming near you.
Yeah.
Assholes. That's life. Um, do to do. Um, what companies? I mean, we just talked about this. What companies do you like?
Um, Companies for equipment manufacture.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, it's just different stories, because people that make singles and dueling armor don't always make melee armor, and vice
yeah,
versa. So I mean, it's contextual, um, and it's also what level of customer service do you want, and what country do you want the stuff to come from.
yeah.
So obviously the people that I like are the ones that I use right now, and Greater gauntlets. They're expensive, but I
Nope.
mean, I've had great success with them. Azier Metalworks made my helmet. I think there's a Ukrainian guy who I can't remember his name. Uh, made my made my current helmet, the Wolf Rib. Ice Falcon made my brig and legs and greaves. Um, so I haven't shopped it with armor for so long. I don't even know who's out there anymore.
Paranabos, Alexander Paranabos makes great stuff. He's got good stuff coming out of.
Well,
I
yeah, I
think
think
he's.
you made my wolf rib. I didn't buy it. I actually bought it from a third party after they had purchased it, and then immediately had to cash
Get
out of
out.
the sport.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually interact with the maker whatsoever, which is why I don't remember his name. I think that was his name.
Yeah. It's like a really long first name, and Paranabos is the last name. Um,
Yep. Yep. That's the guy who
um,
made my. Yeah.
I mean, like the easiest people, the one-stop shop kind of people, like obviously Boohurt Tech and Medieval Extreme. They both have very good customer service. They're really easy to work with, kind of thing. Um, and like we all know that it's going to be a little bit more expensive coming from them, but it's also you're usually buying a full suit from them. And if you only have to go to one person to buy a full suit, that's frighteningly easy. That's amazingly easy. Um, Red Snake Armory makes good stuff. Bijman makes good stuff. He's got a long waiting list. Have you seen Kyle Harris's armor?
Yeah, I have. I've always wanted a suit, but I mean, when he was first starting, his wait list was 2 years.
Yeah,
So unfortunately, it's like, I don't know, 2 years. I might be retired by then.
yeah. I might just stop fighting by that time, guys. Like, oof. Isn't that always the curse? You buy a whole new, brand new, fancy suit and then you retire.
Oh man, yeah, but you know what though? I would like to look like some kind of pot-bellied Nazgul.
Yeah, there you go. A pot-bellied Nazgul. That's an image. Oof. God damn. That is ugly. um yeah, I can follow that. Like I've seen his stuff. It looks good. It has good articulation. I've seen the videos and stuff like that. Just needs polish. I like I don't know like
I like that it doesn't have polish.
yeah, no, no, I meant like just refinement. Um
Oh,
but I'm not saying it like guy makes great shit. Who cares? Ironcrab Metalworks makes good stuff. I mean, I literally just stand there and do this with his armors and like with his arms, and it does this perfectly in sync. I'm like, oof, it's so pretty articulation. And he likes doing the later period stuff. He likes doing the big plate stuff. Um, so, who do you use for shoes? Whose shoes do you have?
I use Ice Falcon's steel-toed boots.
Yeah, how many pairs of those have you gone through?
Three.
I've gone through one set of those, and I blew them apart. I mean, I did use them for a good long time. They did hold up, except for when it kept like straps just kept popping off of them.
I had the same experience. I had the same experience with the straps as well. And then so I mean, I look at shoes the way shoes are. I look at them like as a durable good, but they still need replacing after 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
Um, but I haven't really found. He's the only one that I know that makes a steel toe in a period shoe.
yeah,
My
it's kind of a thing.
my toenails used to be black. My toenails were black for like 6 years straight because they get smashed at a world championship. Then it takes them a year for that damage to grow out,
Yeah.
and then it's smashed in a world championship again.
Don't you wear
So
Sabatons now?
no,
Huh?
no, I've never worn Sabatons ever.
Yeah, H&B now requires Sabatons.
Oh, I've always wanted a pair, but when it comes around to it, it's always like I got something else. I got something else to do, or spend my money on, or what have you.
Reasonable. I got a pair of Go Hurt boots from those guys, and they're nice boots and everything else like that. I have to wear Sabaton with them. They don't have the hard toe. They don't have a steel toe. They have a hardened toe, but they don't have a steel toe in them. So it is what it is. I'm planning on doing a bunch of H&B fighting anyways. I'm gonna put a light pair of Sabatons on my feet and just go from there.
There's one thing. If I do get Sabatons, I'm probably going to get them in titanium or something because the lighter you can make armor that's the furthest from the core of your body, the more energy you're going to save.
Yeah. Making light legs and making sure that you're like your bottom half isn't weighed down so much. It makes it a lot easier to step. Makes your steps a lot like more agile when you make them, and you can maintain a better base. Kind of
Yeah, my leg armor I think is going to be the next thing I'm going to replace because it's basically the heaviest part of my kit.
I mean, realistically, you're not moving. You're okay. I'm gonna be mean. You don't move all that goddamn quick. You ain't really got to worry about it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's true. I just I can move when I choose. I just don't choose to do it that often. And one of the reasons is because I actually have a decent foot speed for my size. I just never have because I've had legs that weighed,
Yeah.
30 pounds.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I wear pretty heavy legs. But like, I just kind of keep moving. I've got a longer stride than you, so it just makes it
yeah,
easy.
I'm never gonna.
Yeah. Um. So okay, the last question I'll give you, and we're going a little long in the tooth. I think we're at about 90 odd minutes or something like that. What kind of drills do you work on for polearm duels?
I do combos. I do combo drills. I strike to the 8 different points on a pel. So I practice ambidexterity and cross hitting. So hitting across the plane. But you know, just training combos, stringing combos together,
Mm-hmm.
and going for 2 minutes on a pel, and then going to a plank for a minute, and then hopping up and doing 2 minutes on a pel again.
Mm-hmm. Whenever I do like pole arm pel work, which I actually do like a fair, like, I do it at least once or twice a week just so I can keep it in my brain. I intentionally miss. Like I take the big swing, and I intentionally miss. I pull myself back from the pel, and I work on recovery from that position to get myself back into like a defensive position, back to hitting people kind of position.
Oh yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, 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 not at all. It's something you didn't want to tell people.
No, it's something I really hadn't thought about. But I mean, that's a good drill. I don't usually drill to miss, but I have combos that involve a feint, which
Mm-hmm.
is a miss on purpose.
Yes. Um,
So
I try to like if I'm doing combos, I try to throw it in the middle of a combo because somebody might you just don't get the step and you don't connect with them or they move a specific way. Like you just miss, and that's like the time when you get hurt because you're wide open, and there's a pole arm primed and ready to hit you in the collarbone kind of thing, or clod hopper you in the skull, so you just don't like you get immediately blacked and you get a fucking egg on your head first, like immediately kind of thing. Just working those things like into it. Like Boy Scouts motto is be prepared, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna be prepared to miss because I'm probably gonna do that once or twice.
there's one thing that's true is I always keep in mind that I could miss. So most of my swings are from a standpoint of anticipating a possible recovery.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as drilling goes, I don't really drill to miss, but I do have feints that are in combos that I've developed that, basically are exactly that. They're missing on purpose,
Yeah.
which is what you're doing. If you're drilling a miss, you're missing on purpose.
Yeah, you're missing on purpose, and you do it, and you're like, okay, how can I come back to it? And then you can use it in your arsenal as an actual like, here's something to throw them off, and then make them really wide open because I'll move to the side when I pick up this pole arm again and hit them really fucking hard across the shoulder blades, kind of thing.
Yeah. Drilling moves that that you fire off the minute your axe gets tangled, because your axe will get tangled. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So
Yeah.
having a move, having a couple counters that are trained so well that it's into muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
So that those fire off the minute you're tangled up, or it's really important.
Yeah, it's something that like everybody needs to be prepared to deal with that. Everybody needs to prepare to deal with the fact that like you lose, like if you're tangled up with an axe and like doing the 2-on-1 drills or having a sword and border going and grappling with your two-handed axe guy at practice, like make sure that the axe guy can get out of the grapple. Did you die? Oh, there you go.
Right.
I think we're gonna go ahead and call it. Simon, I want to thank you for coming on. I want everybody to go and check out Simon's YouTube channel and just look up his name. He's the only one in the world that has that name and does the thing. Whole bunch of him beating up people and being a goofball.
I've had people want to have more of a format like what you have, but I don't know. I'm not as charismatic in front of the camera as you are. I don't know if it'd be really well received.
Um, I don't know. Maybe you just tell him, just go over and watch me on Paul's thing. We can do this like every other month or something like that.
If you want to, if you send me a little video clip or something, we'll talk about that off the line.
Yeah, if you we could do a monthly thing if you wanted to do that, just to give your guys an outlet, kind of thing. I'm about it.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody in chat for joining us, asking questions, being along on the ride with us, even though we had to deal with a whole bunch of technical difficulties at that point in time. Check out Simon Rourke. He's all over the place. He does all kinds of crazy stuff. I want to thank you, brother, for coming out. I just threw the link tree down in the chat. You're going to find it in the description of this video when it goes up. Check out the link tree. Check out the Patreon, the t-shirt pre-orders, all that kind of crazy stuff. Like, subscribe, do all that crazy thing. We all know that I have to like shill the YouTube stuff on a constant. So I want you all to be easy, and namely, get vicious or get out.
Take it easy.
Okay, how do I turn off the stream? Stop the stream. End the stream. Do it. End.